All right. Hello, everybody. This is Jeremy Levitt, and it's Wednesday, so that means I'm here to do the rate comparison. I think I'm officially going to call it apples to apples, but I reserve the right to change that as I choose. So today, NBA came out, announced their national average rates. I'm going to compare that to a unique situation that I run into all the time right now, and we're going to jump right into it. First off, I find the national average rates by going here to the NBA webpage. You get here, it's nba.org, you click on Newsroom, and usually right here it'll say August 8th, most recent application survey, yada yada. It's not actually available yet, but other news sources have it nice and early, so looks like CNN's got it here this morning, or CNBC. Click on there, we scroll down. Today I'm just going to look at the conventional rates because that fits in well with the scenario I want to show you. So today it showed that the national conforming average loan balance of 421 or less, the interest rate dropped from 4.14% to 4.1 or from 4.17% to 4.14. Basically, national average says conventional rates are at 4.14 right now. That's assuming that these people are paying 0.38% in origination fees and costs, those type of things. So keep that in mind. Here's the scenario I run into quite a lot right now. This is a purchase for $425,000. Let's assume you've got a home and you want to buy a new home, but you don't want to sell the old home first. You want to keep that old home along as a rental. You're thinking, hey, that'd be a good investment, something I want to keep long term. And we have a lot of folks doing that right now. And when they're doing that, they're thinking their biggest problem is going to be getting that down payment for that new home, because a lot of people, their down payment is tied up in their equity in the old home. They're not pulling that equity out by selling the home. A lot of people don't want to put a home equity line on that old home. What they want to do is they want to buy the new home with very little down. That's exactly what this scenario is. This is a $425,000 purchase, putting 5% down. Let's show it so you can see all the numbers. $425,000 purchase, 5% down. This assumes they've got a 760 FICO. They're using a conventional loan. There's a lot of numbers on here. There's two numbers I want to focus on. The charges and fees over here, which are their closing costs, and then their total prepaids and impounds. So they're prepaid items. If you add those together at the bottom, the closing costs plus the prepaid items, we get $6,360.13. You use that as a percentage of the loan, that's 1.58% of the loan amount. Here's where I'm going with this. When they're looking to do this very low down payment, because remember, their equity is tied up in the house that they're not selling, they can put together the 5% in a lot of cases, but what they have a problem doing is coming up with the additional funds for the closing costs and the down payment. Maybe they've got 401k they don't want to touch because they'll get penalties, IRAs. There's a bunch of reasons why this works. And so what they end up having to do is ask the seller for 1.58% in seller concessions. And we know right now in this market, that's tough to do. A really nice home for $425, probably going to move quickly. In days, maybe weeks, it's going to be difficult to negotiate that in there. But here's what we can often do. If we go on over to our rate lookup tool, which is available for you guys, let me just pull it back up here on my screen. $425,000 loan amount. We put 5% down. There's our there's our loan amount. We click on the get rates. Give it just a second. And boom. Remember, we've got 1.58% in total closing costs. The key here is we're going to try to find an interest rate where we can get a lender credit of at least 1.58. In this case today, 4.0%. 4.0% today in this scenario, that's 425 purchase price, 760 FICO, 5% down. 4.0% gives a 1.625% credit. So in this exact scenario, granted your scenario will vary, this is all about this scenario, but in this particular scenario, we're able to offer a lender credit that is large enough to offset all the closing costs and all the prepaid items. In this scenario, this person is going to be able to get into that new home with just their 5% out of pocket. They're not going to have to worry about coming up with additional funds for down payment or for closing costs and for prepaid items. So it enables them to keep that other house as a rental without stressing about pulling out extra funds from 401ks, IRAs, getting a gift, doing all the other various things people would do to come up with these funds. Instead, they can get 4.0% from us today in this scenario and get a credit large enough to pay for all of that. I bring this up because in these figures, the national average, the person putting 20% down was getting 4.14%. With us today, they could get 4.0% and a credit large enough to pay for all of their costs. So that's why I'm bringing it up, because shopping me in this market could really pay off. So watch out later today or early in the morning. I'll put together the full rate comparison chart. You'll see all the national average rates compared to our rates. You'll see that we beat them, of course, but I wanted to paint this picture for you so you can see exactly how having extremely competitive rates can help get somebody into a home with just their 5% down. So have an awesome day. I'll talk to you guys soon.